Have you tried the present perfect tense before? Have you eaten sushi before? Have you called your mom today? All these questions are about activities in the past. However, I'm not asking you when these things occurred. I'm just asking you if these things occurred. That's what is a present perfect tense. I'm going to show you how to use the present perfect tense, when to use the present perfect tense, and how it elevates your language from basic to advanced level. Hello everybody, welcome to your English journey with Swati. I'm Swati and I'm an English teacher in Toronto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to formulate sentences, negative sentences and questions in the present perfect tense. And I'm also going to show you 5 situations where you should be using the present perfect tense. So let's get started. First, I would like to talk about the present perfect tense. Why? Present perfect tense is like a bridge. It is a bridge between the past and the present. It talks about incidents in the past and how it affects us in the present. Now let's look at how to make the present perfect tense. I have used the present perfect tense before. I have eaten sushi before. She has called her mom. He has called his mom. We have been to Niagara Falls. They have visited their friends. If you notice all these sentences, I'm using have or has. So firstly, depending on the subject, if your subject is I, you, we, they, we use have. If your subject is he, she, we use has. So depending on the subject, use the have or the has, and then we use the past participle of the verb. You saw the formula for the present perfect tense. Subject plus have or has plus verb 3. However, in everyday conversations in English, we often like to use contractions like I've, you've, he's, she's. So for I have, we use I've, you have, you've, we have, we've, they've, and with has, she is, his. The formula is subject plus have has. Depending on the subject, use the have or the has, and then the past participle form of the verb. This is how we make sentences in the present perfect tense. Now let's look at 5 everyday situations where you can use the present perfect tense. First situation is when the time period is not yet finished, like the day or the year or the week. I have called my mom today. I have done a lot of work this week. So this day is not finished or this week is not finished. It's a perfect situation to use the present perfect tense. The second situation is an action that has started in the past but still is going on. It still is continuing. For example, I have lived in Toronto for 8 years, or I have lived in Canada since 2018. One more thing to remember is the use of for and since. If you talk of an action that started in the past and still continues, you will use for or since. For example, I have lived in Toronto for 8 years, or I have lived in Toronto since 2018. How to decide between for and since? If you want to talk about the time period, use for. If you want to mention exactly when that incident or that event started, exact moment or specified time, then use since. The third situation where you should use the present perfect is about past events that has happened many times. For example, I have been to Niagara Falls 3 times. I have eaten sushi many times. So if you notice here, it's about a past event that has occurred many times in the past. There we use the present perfect tense. Situation 4 is where the event or the activity is more important than when it occurred. The time is not that important. The action is important. For example, I have called my mom. Yes, I've called my mom. When I call, that's not important. I have been to the mall. Yes, I've been to the mall. Have you been to the mall? Yes, I've been to the mall. Situation 5, where you should be using the present perfect tense, is an action that started in the past but has just been finished. We often use the time marker just with it. For example, I have just finished reading the book, or I've just finished my homework, or I've just finished cooking dinner. This is another situation to use the present perfect tense. Now let's look at how to make negative sentences with the present perfect tense. It's very simple. You just have to insert the not after have or has. So subject plus have has, depending on your subject, the not, and then the past participle. So for example, I've not eaten sushi before, or I've not called my mom, or I've not been to her house. That's all you have to do. Just insert the not. In everyday language, we like to use contractions a lot. So just as you were using contractions for have has, for have not or has not also, we like to use contractions like I haven't finished reading the book, or I haven't called my mom, or I haven't been to the mall. So have not becomes haven't, or has not becomes hasn't. She hasn't learned how to play the guitar, or she hasn't finished cooking. The last point is making questions in the present perfect tense. Like I started my video with, have you used the present perfect tense before? Have you eaten sushi before? So the formula is have has in the beginning, just before your subject. So subject plus have has was your formula for sentences, right? But for questions, you have to just flip it. You have to put the have has before the subject, and then the rest remains the same. Has she learned how to play the guitar, or has she eaten sushi before? The same thing. You have to follow with have or has. The have has plus the subject plus the past participle. That's all you have to do. So keep practicing, keep using your present perfect tense, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.